ringside at Yankee Stadium where the New York
Jones right to the left, he likes the head both punches, misses, Jack drops inside, and he marches across the ring. He lands a terrific left reverse with body against the hook and takes a terrific right and a knockdown. Johnson now 2-3.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the opening range. My name is Jim Cagnina with NinjaTrader. It is Monday, June 6th. Happy Monday, everybody. Thanks for being here with me. Before we go too far, I do want to remind everybody, trading futures, options on futures involves substantial risk of loss, not suitable for all traders and investors. Oftentimes in futures trading, you have a high combination of leverage and volatility. And although that could be an equation for opportunity, it's also an equation for risk. So please only fund your day trading account with risk capital. My personal definition: money I could afford to lose, doesn't change my lifestyle, lengthen my retirement horizon, or overly stress me out. Stress is important. We make bad decisions when we're under stress. So be in a good place with respect to all three of those. Again, my personal definition: trading on a real-time NinjaTrader simulated live trading platform today. None of this should be construed as trade or investment advice. Appreciate any comments, questions, ideas in the chat. I appreciate everybody being helpful to each other. If you do want to talk about risk or day trade margins or overnight margins or performance bonds or old-fashioned term of art, just type it in. Be happy to talk to you about it. I was a commodity broker for 20 years before this, so I've seen an awful lot of stuff. Easy on the leverage for sure. You already get a lot of leverage here in futures trading. All right, what happened over the weekend? This is almost like the new normal, right? The ES is up 48, 50. It's like you're either up 48 or down 48 in the morning every day. It's crazy amount of volatility, crazy amount of range today. I'm just peeking at a weekly chart. And I really kind of want to step back. It's really difficult to kind of establish a bias sometimes when you're looking at a 10-minute chart. I mean, you can from an intraday point of view, but I like to kind of step back further, take a big picture look here. And so this is a weekly chart. I got NinjaTrader's weekly chart up here. And we saw, last week was a little bit of a down week, but not, we didn't really push back on the previous week's really big bull bar very much. I mean, maybe we're 80%, 20% down. Now we've made all those gains back up already last night. So it's very interesting. We're right at this level here. So it's 38.2%. Next target right there, 41.86. Alternatively, 23.6 is down here. Again, this is a weekly chart that I want to take a peek at. From an economic release point of view, let's go ahead and talk about those now. I mean, there's not really that much stuff to talk about from that point of view. You got the China merchandise trade number that came out. I don't know if that moved the needle or not, but we'll take a look at things like copper and stuff like that. We have export inspections. That's a grain report by the USDA. If you're trading grains, wheat, corn, oats, soy meal, all like soybeans, all that great stuff. Some routine treasury stuff going on today at 11:30. 4 o'clock another crop progress report, USDA. Again, if you're trading those types of markets, that's kind of important. And I want to add, we have supposedly the Tory MPs are going to vote on UK's Prime Minister Johnson's future this evening, supposedly. Vote of confidence, which is always, it's like Emperor Palpatine. Why don't we have that here? We should have a vote of confidence here and kick people out. That would be awesome. In any event, that's coming up today, and that could affect some stuff. And then, with respect to the ECB rate forecast, I remember Thursday's ECB answer on interest rates, and this is projected to be 0, but there's a wide range of different types of consensus or forecasts for the rest of the calendar year, and we'll talk more about that as we go forward. All right, let's take a look at these charts really good on daily charts. All right, daily chart, E-mini S&P, classic E-mini S&P right here. We're in an uptrend. If you look at my trend, my loosely fitting trend line is a colleague referred to it as, and I like that. But we're also kind of range bound, right? So if you take my crosshairs here around 4,100, we'll call it 4096. You kind of move it up to the top here, 4,200 even. We're kind of range bound here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days in a row, trading sideways. Which could last. We could last a long time this way. We're also kissing up against the trend line too. So buyers are coming in today for sure, and that's looking pretty good. Above that, really, that 61.8% inside fib, and then from the medium tier fib that I have here, from highs that were developed in early April, post-war, but early April. Again, we're tracking right at that 38.2% right now, getting up to that 50%. Again, that's a target. We'll see if we get there or not. NQ looking the same, right? We have that little range bound here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days in a relatively consolidation range. Even though these candles are big, they're really big than normal consolidation candles, but 953 on the top side, on the bottom side around 470-ish, give or take. That's just kind of a rough estimate here. But again, it's looking structurally the same as the S&P. Russell's looking a little bit stronger relative to the two. When I look at this inside fib line, high to low, we're almost already at that 50%. So it's looking pretty strong. I have a rectangle here to kind of demonstrate what I'm going to consider an area of resistance. We'll see if we could break on through there, but it is looking pretty strong today. Dow is up 281 right now, right? Same range bound, consolidation, sideways. Very interesting. We could break up, we could break down, or we could just kind of stay sideways. So I'm open-minded on all the stock index futures so far today from an intraday day trade point of view. Gold futures right now, again, right by my 1860 number. I don't know how many days I'm going to say this. I mean, it is smack dab right there. And a couple of handles south of that, but nothing to get too excited about. Equal and opposite candle the two previous days, which is, again, suggesting we'll see some downside follow through today. We're not seeing that yet in gold futures. Again, open-minded is there as well. Crude oil is looking pretty, we gapped up momentarily in crude oil this morning, and we'll show you a 10-minute chart in a second. We immediately filled that gap and then some on the downside. Sellers came in crude today. I'm still a little bit bullish here with respect to this crude oil. And this idea it can't go any higher, forget about it. Gap's already been closed, but that, who knows what's going to happen going forward here today. 126.29-ish, give or take, is that target wick up here. I'm, again, looking to be bullish as we go forward here in this particular market. Let me just adjust something really quickly, and we will be, there we go. All right, a couple notes here. Let's start with the first one. This is from the Chevron CEO, by the way. Building a refinery is a multi-billion-dollar investment. It may take a decade. We haven't had a refinery built in the U.S. since the 70s. I didn't know that. My personal view is that there will never be another refinery built in the United States. I mean, he's queuing off of green energy initiatives, right? That's what he's queuing off of. But I think that's a little far-fetched, right? I mean, how long could you keep maintaining these facilities? They're 50 years old, 40 years old, 50 years old. You can't. And then we distill other stuff from crude other than just the carbon we burn to power our cars and the carbon we burn to heat our houses. U.S. petroleum inventories, including the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, depleted another 5 million barrels to 1.681 million barrels by the week to May 27th. Stocks have fallen in 74 of the last 100 weeks by a total of minus 436 million barrels since the start of July. U.S. petroleum inventories depleting. Thank you, John Kemp at John Kemp Energy, for that. Appreciate that. My friend at Reuters with some great insight as well. Gasoline futures, looking for places to buy. Bullish here. Don't see this pattern changing. Yeah, the price at the gas pump has been brutal, beyond brutal for a lot of folks. And if you got to commute any distance, it's really, really hurting for sure. By the way, first to chime in, Reno Jim, thanks for being here. Greatly appreciate you being here. Bitcoin's trying to break out of this channel here, but we're right butting up against that second EMA that I have right now. Buyers are trying to come in, but I'm not buying it. I'm still a little bit negative on Bitcoin. We'll probably look for a trade idea here today. Treasury bonds trickling back down. Yields are going up. Prices are going down. Inversely related. Looking for places to sell Treasury bonds as well. And remember the note about over here about the tapering of the balance sheet and the Fed is ongoing as well. This is interesting. The Euro FX, again, Thursday, we have our big meeting at June 9th, 7:45 Eastern time. There should be an announcement from Lagarde. Remember, there's only 6 voting members here in the executive board. I did a little homework this weekend. I had time on my hands this weekend. 6 voting members, 2 of them, Spain, Italy, don't want to raise rates. So it'll be very, as Jimmy pointed out at our last event last week. So it will be interesting to see what goes. And it's expected to be 0. The other problem with the ECB is you only see the short minutes. You don't see the long minutes ever. You really know how people voted. So it's, again, expected to be 0-0 unched. But going forward, we have all sorts of different expectations. Barclays is saying one thing, Bank of America is saying another thing. You can get 10 different opinions from 10 different quote unquote experts on what's going on there. So if you're trading Euro FX, this is going to be a little volatile. Bank of England, a little bit less volatile. We do have this vote of no confidence. I guess there has to be some kind of letter that's sent by 54 prime ministers. 180 votes would be needed to remove Johnson from the House of Commons and start a leadership election. Man, they have better politics than we do. It's a lot of fun over there. In any event, those are kind of just the main things we're looking at right now. I just want to also show you copper really quickly before we take a quick break. Again, 6-2. China easing restrictions, ? There's more chatter this morning in the news that they're also coming up with plans to ease restrictions. So this candle was triggered by that announcement. But look at what happened since then. I mean, we're retracing back down, not all the way, more than 50, about 50% now of the candle, right at that 38.2% retracement rate from that big kind of dominant candle here. We retrace back down. We'll see as we kind of figure out what's going on with China. All right, let's take a quick 30-second break. We'll get into the 10-minute charts and check this out.
You deserve full market transparency. You deserve the flexibility to trade on your own schedule. You deserve access to professional futures trading tools. NinjaTrader, because you deserve more. Start trading futures at NinjaTrader.com. Capture the excitement and opportunity of crypto trading in a secure and highly regulated marketplace. Meet cryptocurrency futures. Go long, go short, you decide. Start trading futures at NinjaTrader.com.
All right, we are back. We do have, who we got here today? John Amos, Bill Pfister, Brian K, Mom and Dad Kegs, good to see you. Tim Merkel, Bob Lewis, Paulie is here, Juan, Gabriel, M. Bartlett, among others. Thank you guys for coming. If I missed you, I apologize. Appreciate you being here with me this morning, Monday morning. It was a dog weekend for me, literally. Took the dog to the beach, took the dog to the brew pub, took the dog to Home Depot, repeat on Sunday. That was my weekend. Mrs. Keggs was not around. She was in Chicago. Anyway, she's back, thank goodness. S&P 500 10-minute chart right here. We're taking a look at it. Again, this is one of these weird, crazy things. Remember, Sunday night. Let's look at what happened Sunday night. We kind of closed. We didn't gap up. We didn't gap down. Everything was kind of normal. We kind of started just trickling up all morning. And then boom, right here, European Open, 4 o'clock. This is probably after the European Open, actually. 4 o'clock candle, 3:50 to 4 o'clock candle, relatively dominant. Buyers came back in, pushed us up to the new paradigm, which is right around the point of control now, 41.52. And that's where we're hovering ever since. Again, it's the new paradigm. I use that word a lot, but I mean, literally, last night I logged in at 7 o'clock East Coast time just to see what was going on. The E-mini S&P was up 1, just 1. And so I sent a tweet out with the big LOL on it. It's like, wait a second, what? It's up 1. Knew that wasn't going to hold. And here we are up 42.50 as well. Again, the open-minded, I want to look at the different levels. We have a really nice volume peak here on a low volume day. Only 197,000 traded so far. We have 5 more minutes for the open. We have a lot of time left. Anything could happen. But that point of control is pretty far north right now. So, and if you kind of look at it, it's been accumulating data since at that particular price level since 410 to 420 this morning, early morning, right after the European markets opened up. And kind of sideways since then. And that's where we're at as we speak right now. And I'm sorry about that. Let's kind of move forward here. We'll look at the other stock index futures to see where we want to end up. but the pivot's pretty far south. Let's just take a look at some of the resistance levels. R1 is pretty tight right now. That could be a nice target for somebody. And then these lines will start populating once we open up here in a couple of minutes. Let's kind of just take a look at Nasdaq. Nasdaq's looking structurally the same. I mean, the volume profile is a little more jaggedy, but still pretty much systematic the same way. Dow Jones looking a little weak, but still systematically the same. Sellers are coming off ahead of this opening. We'll keep an eye on that. Russell 2000 looking pretty similar here, again, structurally. So all the stock index futures we're above the R1 though on the Russell 2000, which is interesting. So I want to keep that in mind. That could be also another area of interest going forward. Gold is all over the map. Look at these candles. Holy cow. This is the gold futures market. We've had some really wicked price movements. Look at this wick way up here. What time is this at? This was at 810 to 820. Gold is tracking 45,000, almost 46,000 in volume right now. Then we have a real low wick right here. Both of these are targets. Really nice volume profile though. Really nice volume profile. This is a normal distribution. There isn't a lot of jaggedy stuff going on here. And it's looking nice. This could be good value area trading today. In other words, selling the top of the value area, buying the bottom of the value area until a breakout happens. At that point, hopefully it doesn't happen, but that's a really nice looking chart. So we're going to come back to that. The tough part about this chart is how do you draw the fib line? Do you draw it high to low and keep in mind that these are real prices where a real trade happened, or you say, oh, this is an anomaly. There was just some kind of weird thing going on with the volume. That's why it popped up like this. Same down here. I'm going to ignore those two. I don't like to ignore stuff like that. So I'm not going to, because someone made a trade there. Someone thought there was a good deal to make a trade. And it could have been a stop out. It could have been anything, but you never know. Crude oil. Again, I'm bullish here, looking for places to buy. We're popping up to that 120 area again. I am going to draw a fib line right here, right now, just to see what we're up against. I am going to go high to low. And remember, I added that 76.4% retracement, so it really doesn't matter. I'm just taking into account the whole range so far from overnight. Let's take a look at what happened, though. We did have that little gap up, right? So here's where we closed. Here's the top of the last candle, and here's where we opened way up here. So we had that gap. It was immediately filled on the very second 10-minute candle. It was actually filled. It was immediately filled on the very first 10-minute candle. So that gap didn't sustain itself, but it did suggest that there was some prices moving up here. So again, looking for places to buy crude oil right now. And other people have beat me to the punch. Other traders have beat me to the punch. We are moving on that as well. Nat gas, we did have that. Let's go check it out last night. Big gap in nat gas. Here's where we closed on Friday. Here's where we open Sunday morning. Huge gap right at that R1. That's where we opened. We opened at R1, and we're moving north for sure. This is very bullish. I would not be looking to sell this. I would not be trying to pick the top up off of this at all. I'm looking for areas to sell right here. So that's look for areas to buy right here. And again, it's bottom of the value, top of the value area is pretty far away. I'm going to stay out of this one for the time being. Bonds are trickling down as they should be, looking for areas to sell for sure. We have about a minute left for the opening bell here. So hang tight. The open is coming up in about 57 seconds. So an interesting pattern here, for sure. Interesting pattern here. Inverse relationship. All the treasuries are negative. All the stock index futures are positive. And pivot's pretty high up. Moving average cross is interesting, though. It's arcing up a little bit, as it should. It's reflecting. It bounced off the S1. That's kind of a nice area here. That could be a target again as well, a little bit later on today. So again, I'd probably be looking for areas to sell here. I'm going to be a little bit patient. I'll put a fib line in really quickly. We're just going to go again high, loosely fitting. I'm going to call it loosely fitting fib line to low. Euro FX. Again, looking for places to sell, but I'm a little cautious here. Remember, Thursday, anything could happen. And not only that, folks could start, there could be I don't know if they're going to have a blackout. I don't know if the 25-member ECB has, is it 23 members, 25-member ECB has this blackout rule we have here with FOMC. So maybe we do, maybe we don't. Maybe they're not talking this week. It's very possible. If they do, it could trigger some anxiety in that market. British pound, looking for places to sell with everything that's going on with respect to the confusion related to the Bank of England and also what's going on with the Prime Minister. We are open right now. Let's just take a look to kind of see where the opening buying pressure is. I do have my opening. Now, we had a lot of confusion about this, and I wanted to straighten it out. These red lines, these parallel red lines, are going to tell me the range for 30 minutes, the first 30 minutes of trading in the cash market. That's what it's going to tell me. So we're going to watch for that. We're going to see how it goes and use that as a guide for later and for immediate as to what can we expect for the rest of the day. Buyers are coming in pretty strong right now as we speak. And 1 second here, just taking a little bit of a note. And there we are, right at that point of control still, 41.52. Open-minded today, for sure. We're way above the first deviation of the VWAP band. Way above the first deviation of this first, the volume-weighted average price in the middle, and then this is one standard deviation around it. And it is arcing up. It's looking, it's looking like a big range, but we've been trading at the top consistently, top above the top standard deviation band. And we'll see now. It looks like we have a really nice wick on the top here. Sellers are coming in. Let's go over to NQ, looking a little stronger. YM, a little weaker. So again, a little bit less systematic action, a little more independent thinking. Again, we're kind of just tracking that opening, what I'm going to call the opening range, that first 30 minutes. Sellers are coming pretty strong here in the Russell. This is looking pretty weak here as well. I'm going to go ahead and draw a fib line at this point. Again, I'm waiting for that first 10 minutes. That first 10 minutes, I want to expire. I want that candle to be complete before I can get into a good trade idea. Again, we're going to go low to high here. Let's see what we're up against. See if I got that right. R1, we just broke through bottom of the value area here. This is a really, this is a P-shaped volume distribution. P is in Pauly right there. A lot of volume, pretty far up. Nice target there if you're looking to get long. If you're looking to get short, though, there's a lot of downside. The pivot's pretty far away. CCI is really, really negative right now, just kind of pretty much falling. Look at that. Falling straight down. Drop. This is a knife that's dropping down. It's a knife dropping down pretty brutally. Gold. Gold is, wow, look at that. A lot of just volatility, a lot of uncertainty in gold, although I like that point of control. I'm going to go ahead and draw my fib line right now. Fib retracement. High to low. There we are, right there. 38.2% retracement. Nice level. Right at that point of control. These are really big wicks on these. Look at that. That's a big wick, big wick, big wick. And the wicks are on the top and on the bottom, which is very, very interesting here as well. So again, from a value area point of view, buying the bottom of the value area, selling the top of the value area, that's a strategy I want to think about as we go forward here. Tracy, good morning from Puerto Vallarta. Griffin says, had a short of 51.75, but didn't like the setup. Shows what I know. You know an awful lot, my friend. You do know an awful lot. You shoot that out. Let's see what else we got cooking here. Crude oil right there. Point of control again. Keep an eye on that. Looking for places to buy. hanging tight here. Crude oil, I don't know. I like that 38.2% level right now, but we're going to be patient and wait and see what's going on. Let's just shoot over one last time to the British pound, see what's going on with our friends in England. Point of control up high. This is real jaggedy volume profile right here. So we'll see how that goes from there. All right, let's go back to our main event here. We're still tracking that very first 10-minute candle. Not a lot of like real economic news here in the US to track so far, but I'm going to keep this volume weighted average price band, one standard deviation band here right now and see how that goes. Again, pretty bullish here right now. I mean, we're still right at that point of control. Volume is accumulating. Low volume day so far, 243,000 on the E-mini S&P. And just this first candle can't seem to find can't seem to find a home. Can't seem to find a direction. No direction home is, or is it a direction home? I can't remember. That's a Bob Dylan thing, right? No direction home right now. Uncertain for sure. As this candle kind of moves around and does its thing. Very, very interesting. Something's going to happen here. Again, I'm going to start drawing lines and rectangles. Again, we have a lot of long-term support down here around 41.45. I'm going to draw the rectangle right here and throw it in. I know it's blue on blue. It's a little wonky, but we can see it, right? This is an area of support. It's looking pretty interesting. It looks like we could break through. Maybe, maybe not. We're going to wait and see as we go forward here on the S&P 500 stock index futures right now. Just looking at the board, across the board here, we have a mix on the currencies. Dollar index isn't really, it's kind of unchanged almost at minus 15. Some stock in these, some of these currency pairs are weak. Some of them are strong. The euro, Swiss franc, yen, weak. Aussie, Canadian dollar, British pound, peso, New Zealand, strong, I guess, relatively speaking. Nothing too crazy that I'm looking at right here, other than the Canadians looking pretty good. Remember, they had their FOMC version last week. We talked about that with Jimmy as well. We have nat gas, $9.89, $20.2. That's a huge, huge price. That's a huge, huge price. I'm just going to just really quickly, I just want to look at that daily chart again in nat gas, just to kind of get interesting. I have a target at 10,663, pretty high right now. Long way to go on the upside, but look at that candle. I mean, that's just all buyers coming in. This is on the move. Nat gas is on the move on the way up, unfortunately. We have grains. Wheat's up 47. That's pretty interesting. Corn's up 9. That's interesting. Oats is down 15. That's where we're sitting there with that particular market. We broke through the rectangle on the downside. We'll see if we got another minute and 48 seconds left to see if it's time to trigger a trade idea or not. We're going to wait. Let's just really quickly, while we have a minute 42, look at the other ones. Micro Nasdaq. Again, I don't have my fib line drawn yet, but I'm going to draw it right now. And low to high. Let's go low to high. Got low to high right there. Approaching at 38.2% retracement. The CCI is negative, but not terribly so, although it's arcing down. The moving average crosses, looks like it's starting to cross under. We'll kind of keep an eye on that. And just overall point of view, we have a really big wick on top of this candle as sellers are coming in and pushing us down right to that VWAP, right to that pivot, right to that 50%. That's a really interesting area in general right here in the micro Nasdaq. Again, open-minded today. The bias seems to be positive overall. A couple of dominant candles here in Europe overnight, which is very interesting. Again, I don't know. We're going to wait. Bottom of the value area is down here. It's little at 34 seconds left. Dow Jones, similar, but it's looking a little bit weaker to me. We've already taken out that European candle right there on the left hand side. That green 4 o'clock candle has already been taken out. Russell's looking weak. Not interested in buying Russell right now. I mean, we're about to make new lows today on the Russell as is first again. I'd be interested to. I'd be surprised if we don't have continuation selling coming in the very next candle here. So let's shoot back over to. Yes, here we go. We have the new candle right now. Continuation selling. We got our range is getting bigger and bigger for that opening range that we identified between those two red lines going across right now. Sellers are coming in. This rectangle is, believe it or not, is still valid, right? Because the body of the candle didn't close in it, so it's still valid. That's an interesting phenomenon. We have a lower high, a lower high, a lower high. Let me kind of open this up a little bit more so we can see it a little bit better. So you know what I'm talking about. We have a lower high, a higher high, a lower high, and then 1, 2, 3 lower lows. And then we have this candle here that's brewing right now. But if you could look at I'm just going to draw my crosshairs to the top of my rectangle, 41.45. That's kind of holding. This is kind of holding right now. CCI is minus 193. And then moving average cross is starting to entwine, kind of going sideways right here. So this will be a very important candle here to see what happens going forward, for sure. And again, I like the fact that this rectangle held. Now, I mean, we have a crazy wicked wick down here, but that's okay. We could use that from a stop loss point of view if the idea is, hey, let's try to get long right here. And I'm not opposed to that idea now that I'm thinking about it. But again, we're only 150, 148, 138. Things are kind of moving up here. I'm going to go ahead and throw an order, and I want to be at the top of my rectangle. And again, my stop loss, though, this is a tough part. Stop loss has to be below the VWAP, has to be below, maybe all the way to the bottom of the value area. That's kind of far. This is a classic ES. And so 10 handles is about $500 right there. So that's going to be a big, again, if you're doing micros, it probably will look a little bit better. I'm going to throw that in there right now. Still driving up to the end. I'm going to be patient. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait for the volatility. I'm going to wait for the buyers and sellers to kind of decide what to do here. And we'll kind of be patient. Orders here. I got the orders tab. I got positions tab. I got no positions open up right now as we speak. We're going to hang tight and keep rolling. Buyers are pretty strong here. Very interesting. Very interesting turn of events today. We're hitting, let's see, where's R1? R1 could be a really nice target right now also, guys. FYI, breakout trade idea. So the breakout trade idea, again, is like, hey, if we start making new highs, I want to go ahead and buy one on a stop, right? You would enter on a stop, and you would try to target your whatever the next target is. And that target, let me just show you, buying a stop, right? So we kind of take out the high of that wick, buying on a stop, you want to get long, and then the target is going to be that R1. That would be the target. And then that would be the arrangement of the trade right there. Alternatively, this could hold. This could hold because we have a really nice rectangle up there as well. So the danger with this trade is we break through that area of support, right? And then we literally bought the high of the day, and that would be pretty ugly. Nobody wants to buy the high of the day. So we're going to cancel that. That's not a good idea. Oop, sorry about that. There we go. Let me just draw that rectangle up there to kind of complete the picture of where I'm seeing this area of, it's long-term too. It's a long-term area right there where I just drew my rectangle, area of resistance. We'll see if we can get in there or not, or if we're range bound. You know, there's a really nice volume profile developing over on the left-hand side. Point of control, we got like, it's almost like squared off between 53-ish all the way down to 50-ish. So you have, I don't know, 3 or 4 handles worth of volume, price happiness right up in here where my crosshairs is, which is also interesting. It's another argument saying, hey, we're going to sell off the top of resistance. We're going to buy off the bottom of support, or vice versa, or some combination thereof. That's kind of what I'm thinking right now. And that's why I kind of like where our trade idea is. Again, if you wanted to be more conservative, you'd probably move your buy order, limit order a little higher. I'm not interested in being more conservative. I think patience is better, especially given the volatility of these markets as we see them now. Phew, what a morning already. What a morning already. The market's trying to find its home. The stock, all the work happened overnight. All of the work happened overnight. Look where we're at in the micro Nasdaq right now. We're at 735. And look at this. We're at 735 at 4 o'clock in the morning. Right. So all of the work happened overnight where we decided this collective international global marketplace benchmark stock index futures is priced at this level right now. That's very interesting to me. Low volume in the stock index futures so far on the open across the board, ES, NQ all the way down. The micro Nasdaq has the biggest volume, 371,000, which is interesting for sure. And, maybe institutional investors are kind of slow in the roll. There was really no significant, as far as I could tell, earnings coming out today. There's always earnings coming out, but nothing that was over the top crazy. So as we're thinking about that going forward here, just a lot of market uncertainty, a lot of sideways action. PPI is, CCI is still kind of negative here. So is the moving average cross. So again, this 23.6, this point of control, these are micros again. So I'm going to use some level of breadth of market to say, hey, I want to try to get short at the point of control. I want to try to get short near the top. And then again, above R1, then, you could either sell a third unit or say that's enough. This is not a good trade idea. I want to be above R1 though, significantly. So I'm going to go ahead and throw a stop in there. It'll be a 2-unit stop. And there we have it. That's another trade idea that's percolating here. We'll wait and see. So we have kind of these things are systematically behaving so far. Oh, we have a long position here in the ES. I didn't see that. All right, awesome. Wow, big wick on the top side here in this candle. Sellers are coming in, pushing us down quickly. We have a tight stop, guys, a tight stop here at the bottom of the value area. This is a classic. That's why I want to have a tight stop. If it were a micro, it would be a different story. But right there, bottom of the value area, you could use the pivot if you want. You can give yourself some more risk exposure if you do that. So be careful. Alternatively, we haven't taken out the previous candle's low just yet. It's still early. We need to put a target in right now. And for now, I'm going to be aggressive and be patient here. We could tighten things up as we go. That R1 is looking very interesting to me at a certain point today. Maybe not right now, but at a certain point today. We're right pretty much at unchanged right now. A lot of equilibriums being established right here. Buyers and sellers are going back and forth. So I'm going to be patient and see what happens here. We have 2 minutes and 20 seconds remaining. 2 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in today's in this particular candle, the second 10-minute candle. As we go here. Being patient and wait. Patience is the whole thing. S&P is up 35 now. Remember, we were tracking 42, 45 a little earlier today. These candles are a little bit deceiving. They're bigger than you think. Especially if you've been trading for a while and you're used to seeing candles on your chart. When you literally have a candle, let's look at the previous candle here. The previous candle, high to low, was 15 handles. That's a pretty big candle. Angel, good morning from Virginia. Thank you for being here. We have the range so far defined here. We have another 12 minutes here before this range is done, right? Before the opening range, parallel bars are completed. So we have some time here to think about it. Griffin says, nice short at 51.50, but no place to put a stop. That is reasonable. 51.50. That's a good trade so far. It's the opposite of what I'm doing for sure. Although I waited a little while to get into my rectangle here. Again, we're just touching. We just expanded the range down. We're driving closer and closer down. I'm going to leave that stop right there. We have the VWAP just kind of is turning red right now. Again, you need a confirmation bar before you can say, yeah, this is for sure going to be a turnaround on the VWAP. So we do need another bar right here. Looks like some volume starting to kick in a little bit. CCI is breaking down minus 172 right now in the moving average cross. Let's just kind of take a a tighter picture of that. It's crossed under right now. It's not, which is, not good for our trade idea. We'll see if it holds up. I want to see another confirmation candle always when you're using delayed indicators, filters. If you want to listen to Patrick Mullen, he calls them filters. You got to wait another candle to get that confirmation to see if it's, hey, this is the right momentum. This is the right direction. This is the right trade idea. This is the right thing. So buyers kind of, we did make a new low on that candle. We have a nut. This is the last 10-minute candle here in the opening range. And looks like sellers are coming back in right now. And we'll see what happens between now and that 10 o'clock, magical 10 o'clock bar, which also could trigger buyers buying and selling based off of algos, systems, all that kind of thing that happens on the hourly candles as well. Shooting over here to the Nasdaq, where are we at? Systematically looking the same. Point of control. Again, patience here. I don't mind being in the opposite direction here at all. I do not mind being in the opposite direction here at all. Andrew says, oil popped on the 3 for now, 38. Let's go over there. Let's go to crude oil, check that out. And move my fib line. The candles are eating my fib line. I'm still bullish on this particular market here. The value area, it's pretty tight. We have a tight value area here as well. So there's a lot of volume in a small amount of range, I think is what I'm trying to say. And you can see that from overnight. Look at all these candles overnight, just pummeling volume right here. No pun intended. I'm just looking at my chart on the upper right. I have my counter and also on the quote board. LB Sam says, how do you know how many points the market's up or down? I'm just looking at my quote board here. I have net change. ES is up 35. NQ is up 136. I'm just kind of looking across there. That's how you do it. You just add it to your quote board, or you could add that little marker to the upper right-hand corner of your chart as well to show you right there on the chart itself. Looking a little weak here. I'm not particularly interested in buying just yet. CCI is at 18, 19, crossing that zero line. Maybe not for good. We'll find out. And the moving average cross is touching as well. My wicks are hard to see. Our Harris, we could do some changes on that. Let's go start here. Really easy with the NinjaTrader software, right? We could just go to our chart, our little candlesticks in the upper left here, and then we could add spacing, take away spacing, add bar width. I don't know if that helps what I just did, but is that more helpful? Let me know. It looks like overly magnified in my mind, but I appreciate the comment for sure. I want to make sure everybody can see what I'm seeing and what I'm thinking is the whole point of this. Right now, we have 3 big wicks at the bottom here that held. My rectangle is no longer any good, right? I got to move it down to touch the bottom of the previous closed candle. Again, I want that top of the rectangle, my area support, to touch the bottom of the previous closed rectangle. So again, pretty close to where we entered right now. Lower volume day. The volume profile is starting to get less impressive to me as we go forward here. We do have, everything is biased to the north. Again, still a P-shaped volume profile as well. But buyers just cannot get control of this market right here. Cannot do it. So I'm going to tighten my risk profile up again. And again, we could talk about this lessons learned. I want to be right below this previous low candle right here. Again, this is looking pretty negative. If we're going to get stopped out, we're going to at least take a little bit of risk off the table. Otherwise, maybe we could declare this area held, right? That rectangle held. I don't know. We're not there yet. We got some time to work. It's still unchanged on the trade. I feel good that we tighten that up. We might even want to tighten up our target since it is already 943. So I'm going to move that target down again into my rectangle, top of the value area, kind of leave it like this and see how it goes here. Again, a lot of sideways action, really indecisive wicks. Let's take a look at the previous closed candle here. We have a big wick at the top, shadow at the top of the previous candle. Let me try to make this better for everybody to see. Does that help at all, everybody? Here we go. Look at how big that wick is on the top, but we had a pretty equally impressive wick on the bottom. I mean, not quite. The wick on the top is twice as big, but buyers are kind of trying to push back here on the rectangle. We'll see if it's going to hold or not. We're right here at the top of the rectangle right now. It will be interesting. I am No, see, this is looking negative too, but that's okay. We're going to hang tight. Let's just really quickly, I'll toggle over to this particular NASDAQ chart. We're above the VWAP. CCI is minus 205, pretty negative. Moving average cross is touching. YM, wow. Same wick behavior. Look at that wick, previous candle. Huge wick on top, huge wick on bottom. RTY, Russell 2000. This is looking substantively weaker, folks. Moving average cross is way, way separated. CCI minus 272 negative. I would definitely be more aggressive looking for places to sell here in the Russell 2000. Probably not interested in places to buy just yet. Again, I want to see a bottom that's sustained for a long period of time, but this is a huge benchmark candle here that we saw at 930 to 940. Okay, there we go. We're right exactly where we started from. How much time left? We got 4 more minutes and 23 seconds left in this last 9 to 10-minute candle. And then we're going to get into that 10 o'clock bar. It'll be very interesting to see what those algos trigger, what that system trading triggers, what that 1 hour bar closing means to the stock index futures. It will be very, very interested. So Griffin's kind of pointing out this. Griffin's is my assist right now. He's suggesting I put this. I think if I understand it right, I'd put that target a couple ticks below the wick. I think this is what you're talking about, right? So this would be, it would look but back to the top of the value area. If that's what you mean, it's right there. If you mean this wick, then I'm going to hang tight. But so we tightened it. We tightened it a little bit. All right. I'm down with that suggestion, that trade suggestion right now. To kind of wait and see what's going to happen. Are we going to have some level of success here or not? 3 minutes and 16 seconds again to go. I'm just kind of scanning across here and looking at all the different markets. Buyers are coming in right now, which is a good thing. There'll be a certain point in time maybe where we could tighten up the stop, but I want to see some sort of strength from the buyers right now. We're not seeing any strength from the buyers right now. CCI is still minus 185. Moving average cross, let's just kind of look at it. It's still looking negative. Like the fast moving average, right? That's the 6-period EMA is below the slow moving average, the 26-period EMA. And it doesn't look like it's tightening its grip anytime soon, but we'll see. I'll move this down a little bit. Oops, sorry. Move that down a little bit too. And for those of you who are new, we are in the E-mini S&P 500 benchmark global stock future index, stock index in general. This is the futures version of that contract. Very liquid, centralized exchange. First in, first out on your orders, all very systematic, all very awesome, in my humble opinion. We have some buyers coming in right now. This is a $50 per point per contract market. So every tick is a quarter. That's worth $12.50, right? You take 50, you divide by 4, you get $12.50. And that's when you see that P&L at the top moving around. This unrealized P&L you'll see on the position that we have. It's moving around mark to market in real time. In other words, what it's telling you is, hey, Jim, if you get out at this particular price, here's what your gross P&L will be. That's all. That's what, when they say unrealized, that's what that means. It's still a loss, but it's unrealized. You're not taking it as a final loss until after the trade is over. If that makes sense. It's a tough concept to understand right away, but once you get it, you get it. So that's where we're at right now. Really interesting. Volume point of view, 345,000. Low volume so far. Low volume. We're already to that 10 o'clock. We got another minute left. Just we'll toggle right back here, but let's just take a peek at what we're looking at on NASDAQ here. Very interesting. I like it. I like the idea that we have, competing interests here in two different markets. So if we get a little bit of trade lift up on the ES, then of course, maybe we can get filled on an NQ and let it float down our way. That would be the goal. That'd be the goal and objective here. Buyers are coming in anticipation of that 10 o'clock candle here. 30 seconds left. We'll see what happens. All right, we have one of the units in the Nasdaq, but before we toggle over here, I'm going to wait these 20 seconds left. I want to see if buyers take us up to Griffin's target. All right, what I think is Griffin's target, 56.50. And again, we could tighten up our stop. If anyone's uncomfortable, you can move your stop to break even right now and see if what this momentum brings us. 4 seconds left, 3 seconds left. We're right at the VWAP right now. There we go. Here's the new candle here. Let's see if we can get that extra tick or so. Buyers are coming in. Second, this is a pretty decent size bar right here, actually. The body of this candle is pretty decent, previously closed body. So at this point, again, let's think about moving the stop to break even, shilling it up a little bit, and then see what happens. A couple of ticks below, he said. It's like 2 ticks below, dude. What happened? That's all right. I'm more than 2 ticks below, but I'm going to be patient. We're going to wait. We're not going to trail anything. We'll see what happens there. There we go. Follow through. That worked out okay. Let's go ahead and cancel the stop. Don't forget to cancel their stop. If you have multi-unit trades, make sure there's no dangling orders. Dangling orders can get you in trouble, especially if you forget about them. All right. So now we're short in the Nasdaq. So that same trade lift up happened in the Nasdaq. We had our first unit. We have our second unit right now. R1 is where we want to stay away from, right? Again, if you're super aggressive, you could sell another one at R1, but I'm not going to do that right now. Our average position is 756 on the upside. And again, I want to get one target off the table. I'm going to use that 38.2, the bottom of these two, where the turnaround happened, the VWAP, all this stuff is converging at one place. This is where I want to get one unit off. Thanks, Tom. Appreciate that. This is where I want to get one unit off now. Be patient. I'm going to wait. It's Monday. We have 5 days left, 5 glorious days of trading coming up. So FOMO, there's no FOMO. There is no fear of missing out because you never miss out. There's another opportunity in a minute or in an hour or in another market or tomorrow. There's always another opportunity. Do not chase. This is my opinion. This is my suggestion to you. Do not chase your entries. Do not think you missed something because you didn't miss something. I mean, yeah, we're living in extraordinary times, but even when things settle back down to normal, it will still be a lot of opportunity. So be careful, slow your roll, don't chase. I'm very comfortable right now. Remember, my goal here is to get this target and then move my stop, change it to a 1 lot and move it to 756. 756. Remember that number. That's where I want to move my stop to, 1 or 2 ticks below my average price. My average price right now is 756.75. Whew. Just take a look at some of these other markets here. It is 10:02. We are, by the way, I do want to remind everybody, trading futures, options on futures involves substantial risk of loss, not suitable for all traders and investors. A lot of leverage, a lot of volatility, a lot of opportunity, a lot of risk. Easy on the day trade margins. Trade on a real-time sim account today. So please slow your roll, be patient, be in a good spot. None of this should be construed as trade or investment advice. Any questions on that stuff, type it in. I'd be happy to talk to you about it. Big wick on this gold bar, by the way. A lot of buyers are coming in right now. My fib line's out of whack right now, and I'm wondering if I want to change it. I probably do want. I don't want to change it because I want to really see what happens. Look at that, minus 61.8. That's a nice target on the downside, everybody. If you're thinking about going short gold, 1847.6. I like that target. We got that wick. A lot of times these wicks get attacked. Momentum's down. CCI is minus 225 in gold. Moving average cross is separating down. It's the fastest diverging from the slow on the downside. Pretty negative across the board here on gold futures. I'd probably wait to try to get back up to closer to the bottom of the value area. And the trade idea, let me just throw my ellipse here. Would look right there's a good target. That's a good target wick right there. So I'd be above it. In any event, we're just going to hang tight and just kind of look at this NQ trade going forward. Lessons learned so far. Let's talk about that. It's 10:04 already on a Monday. I'm a little foggy today, but I'm going to get more and more clear as the day goes on. Wow, CCI is rocketing here. Look at that. ES is looking strong. Buyers are coming in. We're right at the top of the value area. I'm not panicked just yet in the micro Nasdaq. So lessons learned. One, we were patient in the ES. We went with the longer term trend. Remember, the longer term trend was positive. We went with that. We were patient. We got filled. Everything worked out. That was okay. This particular trade, we did a counter trend trade. We're doing the opposite. We're hoping for some range, some value, some range bound trading today. But the Nasdaq's very volatile, so I'm a little bit worried about what we have cooking right here. So we'll keep an eye on that as well. But again, we're lagging. We're scaling in with 2 units right here. So that's where we're at. We have a visitor in the studio today. Hunter the dog is here, walking around looking for I don't know what trouble. Down 33. Only focused on 2 markets. That was probably smart. Only focused on 2 markets. Better than focusing on 3, 4, 5. Don't spread your focus out too widely. It's another pretty good lesson learned. And I'm going to be patient here. It's my last lesson learned. Just kind of wait, and see how this kind of pans out as well. I'm not going to change things. I'm not going to chase things. I'm just going to be patient. Our target is very conservative right now. You could certainly move it down to be more aggressive if you wanted to wait for this trade to percolate longer. If you were sitting and I'm going to be here for a couple hours, I want to wait. In any event, FYI, that's I'm happy as it is right there as we speak. Mario says my camera is real blurry. Well, I'll tell you, you're not missing anything looking at me. But if you have, try this though. Have your view set to. This is from a friend is giving me some advice here. Have your set your settings to HD 1080p, if that makes any sense. HD 1080p. All right. Sorry about that, Mario. I know this streaming stuff is great. It's like making sure that opens up the door actually to another question, to another point. Make sure when you are trading, you can't control a very lot. You can't control price. You can't control exchange behavior. You can't control economic releases. You can't control any of that stuff. The only thing you could really control is your hardware, right? And try to get the best internet connection you can get, right? So hardware is important. If you have to spend a few $100 extra to get a dedicated trading machine, I recommend it. I think the investment is worth it. I think you want to have some good equipment. I think you want to have some good bandwidth on your internet. That's the only thing you can really control, folks. The only thing you could really control. So keep that in mind. Is just some advice. It's each tick in the S&P is worth $50. One point is worth $50. And think about the overall cost of a nice box. It's not that bad. Anyway, sorry, I'm kind of going off script here a little bit. All right, so let's take a look going forward here, just from an economic release point of view. And then I want to end on the daily charts. I just want to take a peek at a couple of the daily charts here as well. I actually have the CME Group's calendar up here today. CME Group's calendar is up here today. So again, not that much stuff with respect to the US-based information coming out today. Tomorrow's Tuesday. We have more stuff. I'm looking at the CME Group because it gives us that international flavor. I don't know why. I just had it up this morning. International trade in goods and services is kind of important. That's at 8:30 East Coast time tomorrow. And then scrolling down a little bit further, some just routine treasury stuff and U.S. Consumer credit, which is going to be important also. That's 3 o'clock tomorrow as well. So for the rest of the day, really, you have to be on guard for unplanned news, right? For things that could happen in the marketplace that you didn't anticipate, things that just hit, someone says something, someone does something, geopolitical issue, whatever it is. Remember, we have a war going on, right? We have a war going on. And anything could happen. So, and there's more than just that conflict, by the way, going on. We got sellers coming back in now on the Nasdaq. So far, so good. All right. What else do we have to talk about? I just want to look at this daily chart really quickly. Oops, that's not it. That's not a daily chart. Jim, that's definitely not a daily chart. Here's a daily chart. Let's just shoot over the E-mini S&P daily chart. Again, really interesting structure here. I'm going to draw another rectangle just to kind of, I'll draw another line just to kind of frame the conversation here. I mean, we have a little triangle going on here. You can call it an ascending triangle. These triangles, the textbook on this is different than reality. And reality is we could break up or down, right? We could break up or down. The bias on the downside is more obvious when you look at the triangle, but in my experience, it's a 50-50 proposition, right? Whether we're breaking on out above here. And again, it's a loosely fitting top of my triangle. If this was the hypotenuse, is that right? Is that what that would be called? And this is the base. It's upside down. This is a really neat formation here. We're going to keep an eye on it over the next couple of days. But we are approaching that high. And that high is approximately 4180-ish, give or take. And then the 50% outside retracement, 4218. So very interesting. We'll see if we stay in this channel. We have two things going. We have a channel, we have a rectangle, and we have some fib numbers that are also kind of bracketing the situation here as we go sideways in the S&P 500. And lastly, but not leastly, let's just quickly look at the Nasdaq. It's looking the same. Right in that range. Here's the top. The triangle here is less pronounced, by the way, so I'm not going to draw a triangle here, but here's the top, 913. Here's the bottom, and I'm just touching the bottom of the candles. And these are pretty interesting. You almost have an equal, opposite, equal, right? You almost have three candles that are the same, only in different directions. That would be something, right? That would be surprising if that happens, number one, but that would be something for sure. In any event, buyers are pretty strong here in the stock index futures. That's a nice triangle I could draw right here for sure. Let me do it real quickly. We're running out of time here, but we're going to do it anyway. Just a rough. And then the other line will go across, of course. Let's do the other line anyway while we're here. And there we go. So again, we're going to look at that ascending triangle and see what that means to us. Same story with the Dow Jones futures as we speak. All right. I think we covered an awful lot of ground. Appreciate everybody being here. Appreciate the thumbs up on YouTube for sure. Monday, I know, is a little groggy for everybody, including me. But I feel like I'm back in the swing now. I'm excited to be here. Appreciate you guys being here. Appreciate the interaction in the chat. Appreciate everybody helping each other out. That's huge. Tell your friends, your family, this is free. Isabella, just shoot that events page in as well. We have some events coming up. Again, we have Tuesday and Thursday. Let me tell you what's going on here. Let me pull up my other cheat sheet. Bear with me for a second. You would have thought I'd have this already ready to go. But it's Monday, like we said. We talked about it. Monday, give me a break. Here we go. We have tomorrow, Traders Workshop. We have Julie Wade. She's like me. She's been around a while. She's seen a lot of stuff. And she's focused on the bell-shaped curve. And we talk about the bell-shaped curve a lot with respect to volume profile, and then one standard deviation of volume. She's going to also talk about it. And she's been, involved in these markets, 20 plus years. It'll be very interesting to hear from her. She's going to be with Tom on Tuesday. And then see the futures is Bobby Iacchino is going to be back with, I thought gold was an inflation hedge, right? This is going to be fascinating on gold and how it's related to the US dollar, how it's related to fear and everything like that, how it is and isn't used as a hedge. So we're looking forward for that conversation with Bobby. And then I think we do have June. No, we got an off week. So we have an off week with Anthony Credelli this week. So nothing Thursday. But in any event, those two events are going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to listen to those live as we go forward here. And we covered a lot of ground today, guys. Really appreciate it. We'll take one last peek at this Nasdaq trade. Momentum slowing down, but we're right at the top of the value area. We have three big green candles in a row. This is not boding necessarily well for our trade idea. Our stop is in good position. I feel like we have a chance of getting to that R1. Because it's the micro Nasdaq, though, our stop might be too close. It might be too close. Just keep that in mind. Make sure when you're using micros, you give yourself a lot of breath, especially when you're using the micro. You're in the micro Nasdaq, because these wicks get a little wonky, like you see here in this particular candle right here. Big wick 930 to 940 at the top of that candle. Next candle, big wick on the top of that candle. So you get these big wicks sometimes. In any event, looks like momentum's kind of slowed down though. So we're going to keep monitoring this, and we'll talk about it this afternoon. We'll see how it went. All right. Appreciate everybody being here. I really do. Really, really do. And hopefully we'll see you this afternoon again at bars closing at 3:15. Please, though, let me leave us all with this. Be safe out there. Be good to each other. Thank you.